President Bola Ahmed Tinubu takes a swipe at ADC presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar during a Northeast stakeholders visit, accusing him of privatizing government assets and leaving pensioners unpaid. Let's watch.
I could see the leadership of Northeast challenged because of terrorism and banditry. I could see our collaboration, that we work together. Only we stick together, we think together, we face the challenges the best way possible as a united country. The golden age is here now. If we can stabilize the economy. Nigerians are not asking for too much. Simple stability, social welfare. And among the visitors today are some pensioners. I hope you are receiving your pensions if you are afflicted. So, if I can go political, somebody among my prospective opponents, they privatized government investments in public private entities, but they forget to pay the pension. I'm clearing the pensioners now. So clearing the mess they created. But I won't complain. The integrity and the commitment that you show me all from Northeast, we have our hands on the plow. We're never going to look back.
Well, all right. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not mention Atiku by name, but nobody missed the target. He was speaking while receiving Northeast stakeholders at the State House in Abuja, led by Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Zulum, who came to thank the president for renominating Vice President Kashim Shettima for 2027. Well, this is not the first time the president has taken this swipe. He made similar remarks in April, questioning whether anything the opposition privatized is working today. Well, Atiku previously described those remarks as a reckless tirade that exposes a troubling pattern of hypocrisy and historical amnesia, defending the privatization program as necessary reform and pointing to companies like Owando and Transcorp Hilton as proof of its success. Nigerians are reacting to the story. But first, good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning. Rufai on fire, TGIF. Finally, right? But like I said, Nigerians are reacting to this story, obviously, and it was last night. Yes, absolutely. You look dapper, by the way. Anyways, I'll take this reaction.
Thank your friend.
Yes, I know who to thank. Can I mention her name? Miss Kikelomo. Well, all right. I'll take this reaction from Kabe, who wrote, "Sorry, Mr. President, but your promises no longer carry much weight with us. You promised us stable electricity, yet today we're still battling darkness. Mr. President, you criticize privatization as private sector participation is inherently responsible for Nigeria's failures. Yet, under your administration, we have also seen major transactions involving the transfer and restructuring of strategic energy assets between NNPC and private companies, including the government-approved transfer of NAOC's Nigerian assets to Owando. Your Excellency, you speak of a mess that was created. Shall we also talk about the state of insecurity in the country under your watch? The enormity of that mess alone dwarfs whatever you claim you have inherited. Daddy, Nigerians deserve answers, accountability, and real solutions, not excuses, blame shifting, or endless finger pointing. I mean, the president is the commander-in-chief. At this moment, Nigerians are obviously very frustrated, really, especially when it has to do with insecurity matters. And you'll understand why some Nigerians will react this way. But I thought that the president was quite vocal. And I thought that his comment about, paying pensioners at this point should also be, looked into. Are they really being paid? Because I know that we've seen some police officers go out on the streets in protest against their pensions not being paid. Your thoughts? Okay.
Let me just make general programmatic comment, which is to say that we should learn from other jurisdictions. The Prime Minister has just been changed in the United Kingdom. Once the Prime Minister got to that position, and even before him, we've always talked about the politics of ideas. When Andy Boham assumed office, or even before then, people were saying, what are his ideas? What are the things he wants to pursue? Both the opposition and even members of his own party were saying, we don't know enough about what he wants to do. Eventually, he came in, 10-year plan, development in every postcode. I will make sure I transform UK economically. There's something tangible that you can hold on to. In Nigeria, what we do in our political systems is what they call tit for tat war. Turning this process into a war of attrition, the type we have in between US and Iran and Israel in the Middle East, is not what we recommend in this cycle. We would like our leading politicians to contest at the level of ideas, and for their followers, their spokespersons, to also talk about ideas that we can hold them accountable to. Nigerian politics are so degenerated that in fact some of these political parties, 6-7 months to the election, we don't know their manifesto. So what we want to hear from opposition leaders, whether it's Waziri Adamawa or it is Mr. Obi or Omoyele Sowore, is these are the ideas I'm proposing to Nigerians. This is what I will do to transform Nigerian lives, not personality attacks. Right. What we are getting up to this point is attacks on personality.
You're absolutely right. And that takes me to my next story. Okay. I don't know if I'll add that together. Meanwhile, Atiku Abubakar has fired back at the presidency after a presidential spokesman, Bayo Ononuga, described his U.S. lobbying campaign as self-defeating and an affront to Nigeria's sovereignty, and shockingly declared that if Atiku were Chinese, he would be rotting away in jail. Atiku dismissed the statement as proof that the administration has chosen diversion over disclosure and insults over accountability, insisting that raising questions about publicly available records is not an attack on Nigeria's sovereignty, insisting that accountability is not foreign interference, but a fundamental democratic obligation. And, this is what I was talking about, the attack. I'd like your comment on it. And, Dr. Abati, you can wrap up on that, your thoughts.
I thought Frank Shaibu, Senior Special Assistant to Atiku Abubakar's statement and response to Mr. Bayo Ononuga was quite apt. The truth is that we on this table already had said a lot of the things that Mr. Bayo, in fact, I feel like he was watching this show and got a few points from here. Around, number one, an attack on, just questioning why Mr. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar would challenge Nigeria's sovereignty by heading to the United States with this information. That was one. Number two was also talking about the fact that he had a case to answer. Rufai, you mentioned that yesterday, so it was quite interesting to see that his comment. And the response was, stop distraction, stop deflection tactic, answer the main crux of the matter. The main crux, which is asset forfeiture, which Mr. Ononuga did not in any way, address directly. All he
did. He said that.
That's why I said directly. The particular one, I said directly. The particular one that was raised again were certain disclosures that were made anew, and they did acknowledge the fact that in the Supreme Court had ruled that it had no bearing with local elections, but that actual issue of whether or not there was asset forfeiture and what the implications of that was has not yet been settled. And he mentioned in his statement that ought to be done. Let's just settle this matter once and for all. That is what that new statement by Frank Schreiber made. Going back to contest of ideas, which ought to be the level at which we play politics, and I just feel like it's such a disservice and cheating the people of a viable, proper intellectual debate when it comes to the kind of leaders that we ought to choose, instead of mudslinging. In fact, if I ask this morning, is that now part of the work of the presidential spokesman, which is just to sit down and just talk about someone and say, oh, this, and the same vein, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that jab at Atiku, even though he didn't mention his name. Let me just say though that in fairness to this administration, pensions have been paid. In fact, I understand that there are some recoveries made by the EFCC in terms of asset forfeiture that has gone towards the civil service and ensuring that pensioners are paid. So that's one thing this administration has done quite well. But other things still persist. From President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his own campaign manifesto is already being read by Nigerian people. His performance in his first administration, the previous campaign, how well he has been able to discharge those duties.
Right.
So
thank you for highlighting that aspect of the pension. Just to
the matter about civil forfeiture of $460,000 in the United States has been settled. After the 2023 general election, the matter came up that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should have been disqualified. And the Presidential Election Petition Commission, PEPC, addressed that matter. And they said it didn't apply. Because when you are taking a matter from another jurisdiction, for it to apply in your jurisdiction, you register it first. There was no registration. You can't just go and take a matter that has been resolved in another jurisdiction and just throw it. So the best that they can do is to keep talking about it, to influence public opinion. Yes. But it's a matter that had already been resolved in the 2023 election. And that was why I referred to.
But how was it resolved?
No, I've just told you.
No, this not.
No. Was it disqualified?
I will comment on this after.
Was it disqualified?
It was not resolved.
It was one of the issues.
Dr. Abati, it was not resolved.
What Mr. Frank Schreiber was stating was
conflict of jurisdiction.
It was not resolved.
Conflict in terms of jurisdiction and the legal processes that you have to follow. Yes. Those who raised the allegation did not even follow that process, and that was the position at that time. What else could have been settled by that presidential election?
Fine, just respond to that.
But you can use it for public opinion, and
just respond to that particular thing, because I want you to comment.
Yes, so it's just it's not a matter that
Dr. Abati says it was resolved. You have your own opinion.
With due respect, Dr. Abati, there was no resolution.
Okay.
You see, we were all in this country that time. What happened was that when they got the files from America, the time was already short in the filing and registration and all the court processes. And that's why the Supreme...
It was a matter of jurisdiction.
It's just a matter of jurisdiction, yes. And I'm happy he made mention of jurisdiction, because this was the same Dr. Abati, about 2 weeks on this table, that was defending that if a UK clot what's her name?
I talked about registration. You have to register it.
That automatically they should not try for what is clear. Now we are talking about jurisdiction.
But why do you both say that it was not resolved?
It was not resolved because the matter was not. The court dismissed the matter.
Okay, you are saying it was a dismissal.
It has not gone through the process. It has not gone through the full process of registration and everything. Things can still come back. When you talk the other one, I want to now talk the
so you can carry everything. So Dr. Abati, your stand is that the matter was decided at the Presidential Election Committee.
Yes,
that's your stance. And your stance is the fact that it was not admitted.
So what they are saying was not
So the fact that it wasn't admitted, can it be looked into again at the in the next time? So those are the questions.
All the good things in life will come to you for that question.
Okay.
Dr. Abati, answer that question.
All right, good. So can it be looked into?
Answer that question.
Those are the questions Nigerians will ask.
Question.
An inquisition panel now.
Question to
this is not a panel of inquisition.
All right.
That's not journalism.
Very good. All right, Rufai. Meanwhile, fresh pressure from Washington as U.S. Senator Ted Cruz has accused Nigeria of launching a public relations campaign instead of responding to American concerns about insecurity and violence against Christians. Ted Cruz was reacting to the U.S. House of Representatives vote to withhold 100% of U.S. assistance to Nigeria. In a post on X, Cruz stated that Nigeria's $9 million lobbying deal was an attempt to deflect rather than address U.S. concerns. He wrote in part, Nigerian officials have created an environment that facilitates mass violence against Christians and religious minorities by imposing blasphemy and Sharia laws and looking the other way at jihadists' atrocities. The U.S. government knows the Nigerian officials responsible for these policies. I have been pushing my bill to sanction them, and President Trump has even ordered military action instead of responding to American concerns. Nigerian officials waged a public relations campaign against critics. Now, Rufai, this has generated significant reactions. Paying $9 million to communicate Nigeria's efforts to protect Christians to U.S. government has been a hot topic of debate, but Ted Cruz's reference to Sharia and blasphemy laws will also be deeply controversial inside Nigeria, with many arguing that the country's security crisis is far more complex than Cruz's framing as a religious persecution issue. It ignores the ethnic, economic, and political dimensions that drive violence in the Middle Belt and elsewhere. Before I take reaction, I'd like your thoughts on Ted Cruz's comment. I mean, this is just coming after that letter was revealed yesterday by Ononuga.
I mean, what Ted Cruz said is very apt. And that's why when the likes of this government and Ononuga was saying that it's a shame for Atiku to go to abroad and try to out our president and all of that, that's unpatriotic. Did what the government do, is it patriotic? Nigerian government. We say there's Christian genocide. Yes, there's killings of Muslims, there's killings of Ayilala worshippers, there's killings of Shokono worship by everybody. But you can't deny the fact that in some parts of this country, like the Plateau and some other parts, there's a direct Christian genocide. Then what was the government reaction? Rather than stop the killing, orgy. Yes, we know they partnered with Trump and they got some terrorists killed, but rather than focusing on that, then they went to take lobbyists to go and say, oh, all lives are being killed. It's not only Christians. So it's not an aberration to the lives of the Christians that were already killed. To balance the argument Dr. Abati was making, Dr. Abati, you know me, I don't have any dog in the fire. Atiku 2 has case to answer. That's what Ononuga too said as regards the William Jefferson case. So that it's not a case of Rufai like this. Is that I highlighted it and Maria highlighting it. Doctor, Atiku 2 has case to answer. So he can't only say about TINUBU'S own. He has case too to answer. They mention his name through the William Jefferson own and everything. Maybe the Ononuga too will go and now, what did you call that word? Register the case here and bring it up against him and all of that for, you know, seeking disqualification or maybe criminal forfeiture or civil forfeiture, whatever you call it. Atiku 2 has his own to answer. So it's 2 of them that are going at each other in this that have their own to answer. So it's 50-50, no cheating. But as regards the privatization, I think I should just clarify something. Yes, when the privatization happened then, it brought some challenges as regards payments. You remember the time they used to make jokes about Nigerian, some pensioners that were not paid, Nigerian railway pensioners, daily times pensioners, people that work for all those privatization. But it is not also fair for President Tinubu to say that, because that privatization process too was largely very successful and saved this country. One person very dear to me worked extensively on those privatization, Madam Ijoma Wogugu. And we know how some of those companies still exist today because of the transparency of the process of that privatization. Daily Times is still alive today because of the transparency of that privatization. I think somebody mentioned Transcorp.
Right.
It's still alive today. Those companies are still seeing the light of day. Yes, there were some that they sold to people, but you know, there were challenges. People have challenges in businesses and all of that. But it's not also great to undermine the work of those people. I think that's just the balancing act I wanted to put out there.
Okay, very well. Thank you for your submission. Well, let's now...
Okay.
What?
I just wanted to say something, which is also a repeat. That we have successful PR companies here.
From
the Nigerian government went and gave DCI
$9 million
in December.
Come on.
For a job that could easily be done by established PR. Let us encourage our own people when we make up our minds to spend Nigerian money.
Right.
Buy Nigeria to go the Naira.
Yes, buy Nigeria.
Okay, that's their slogan.
Yes, buy Nigeria. Well, thank you for highlighting our PR firms. We have PR firms here in Nigeria.